Hey guys, welcome back to my shed. Today we're going to be restoring the 2.5 meter Aquilla glider. So I recently got hold of a 2.5 meter glider called the Aquilla, and the Latin meaning for Aquilla is eagle, which is quite cool. But this 2.5 meter glider is completely balsa built and it was made about 30 years ago. So when I got hold of the Aquilla, it had been hanging on a friend of mine's father's wall for a while and hadn't been flown in upwards of 30 years. So he said that I could look after it and see if I could restore it and get it back up in the air. So what we have to do on the Aquilla is that the vertical stabilizer is incomplete. There's been bits and pieces broken off of it. There is a little bit of the horizontal stabilizer that needs to be rebuilt, and there are a couple missing ribs and there are no air brakes at the moment. So when I got the aircraft, the fuselage was covered in a white paint with a clear plastic film covering it, and subsequently I've taken that off, stripped it down, and it's been resealed. So we're just going to leave the raw wood there. It looks awesome with the raw wood, and I think it's going to be a really nice finish. The structure of the fuselage is in great condition. It really is stunning. The only thing that I'm going to have to rebuild is the hatch cover for where all the electronics are going to go in, and rebuild the canopy. So that's not really going to be too much of an issue. And then once I've repaired the wings, I'm going to cover it in a green monocoat and see how it flies. We are, however, going to be adding an electronic motor with folding props on it, purely for the fact that I'm absolutely useless at flying gliders, I would imagine. So just a bit of a fail-safe, and it'll allow me to launch the aeroplane on a day that there is no wind or no thermals or anything like that, and still get a huge amount of enjoyment from it. So because of the size of the wings, I'm not really going to be able to cover it in monocoat within my shed. So I am going to be moving to a slightly different location. I'm just going to just be out in the garden on one of the tables. It'll just allow me the space to be able to cover it in monocoat properly. I really do want to do a decent job of this. I have also built some air brakes for the aircraft that weren't on it when I got hold of it. You'll see a couple of images of me building it coming up now, and that I think will just be a great addition to the ability to control the aircraft. Alright, that's enough chatting. Let's get to making. Well, there we have it. We have a rebuilt vertical stabilizer. How exciting is that? It does need to be fitted properly, so make sure that everything lines up nice and straight. But overall, it is looking really good. I might have to refit this little piece here just to make sure that the angulation is right, so that it sits like it should on the plan over here. So I might cut and paste that, or take it out and replace it in, just to line it up correctly to make sure that everything is nice and neat. But overall, I'm very, very happy with how it turned out. So the alignment wasn't really that great on the sides here, as you can see. Not the greatest situation there, but I think once it's covered in monocoat, it will really come out quite nicely. I have worked on the edges a little bit in the corners to make everything smooth. So that's just going to, yeah, wind up looking really good. Awesome. Let's get on to the next thing. All right, so we've done a bit of building. We've managed to get done both of the spoilers. If you have a look at the side here, they've just got a bit of ribbing, and they're going to flap up and increase drag and essentially allow me to control the descent of the plane. I also have managed to get the second elevator fixed. You can have a look there. It really is looking good. Not a perfect job, but more than adequate for what we're going to be doing here if you compare it directly to the other one. Then I have finished the elevator. So yeah, it came out really, really nice. It's, again, not perfect, but it'll more than do, and really just get it all sorted out. You would have seen the video, the clip previous to this, of it fitted on the airplane. And then the last thing that we have to build is the canopy. We've got to get this up and going and, yeah, finished. So what the plan is to build up the edges on the back and the front here, which is going to fit inside the aeroplane just about here. Have it look like that. And that clips in and is secured by a little insert just to hold it in. But obviously it is incomplete and the aircraft really won't look that good. Okay guys, so I've been having quite a bit of a difficult time trying to get the canopy right. So what we do have is this base plate that has been pre-built, and then what I need to do is I need to create this shape. So what I've done, I have tried expansion foam and tried to cut that down. Didn't work too well. So what I did is I went onto YouTube and researched how canopies are best made, and I came up with this. So what I did is I bought a piece of reasonably thick balsa, a bit too thick if you ask me, and then I traced out the matching canopy design, and then I will add underneath here, once I've carved this out, the base of the canopy. Okay, so I have made the form for the canopy. The next step is to load it into a Coca-Cola bottle and heat shrink it so that the plastic forms to the form, and then stick it onto the decking, which also needs to be cleaned up a bit, and then essentially we'll be done and ready to fly. Okay, so I have positioned the form inside the Coke bottle now. I've used a bit of wood and a stick to make sure that it is going to remain solid as I'm heating, just to make sure that the form doesn't move. But yeah, let's get stuck in. So there we have it. We have the canopy and the deck that the canopy is going to stick onto. So now all we need to do is we're going to use some of this 2-part 5-minute epoxy and make some up, glue on the folded side here, place it like so on the frame, and then we will be good to go. Alright, there we go. Canopy is finished. I have glued end stops on, and so it is finished and ready to be put on the aircraft. Okay, so we're at about that time where we mount the motor. I know it's not strictly speaking exactly how the plane was intended, but it is the way it is going to be. It'll just allow me to really get used to flying gliders, and then when I do get more experience with it, then I'll be able to do something more exciting with that. So what we do is we're going to mount this motor on the front, which does mean that we have to chop a bit of the nose off. But what I'm going to do is just position it as far back as necessary without having to go too much into the airplane, and then we will get onto the soldering on all the bits and pieces and making sure that we end up with a nice and clean and easy system to go with. But let's get going. Alright, so engine is mounted, ESC is all prepped and ready to go. It's now time to get the servos in, and yeah, then we're just about ready to fly. Okay guys, so this is the full setup. It's not with the right receiver and transmitter, but it will do the job. So here you'll see the rudder servo moves happily, and the elevator servo moves happily, as well as you can hear the motor running, which is really cool. And the BEC is making sure that it stops nicely and holds its position, so it really is looking like we are just about ready to fly. Awesome. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed it. It's really fantastic to be able to do an old school project like this and put a little bit of a new spin on it, and yeah, I'm really excited to see it in the air. You will see coming up that there will be a glide test flight and a maiden, so keep an eye out for that. And if you did like what you saw, please leave a like, please subscribe. It really does help promote the channel and expose other people to my content, so that would be great. I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.